Hey folks, Ranger here, and I wanted to make this video while I'm still, of course, in classes still, but this is gonna be more or less an unscripted video of me telling my thoughts and some predictions I have for some upcoming kaiju media coming. So there have been some recent news when it comes to, the Monsterverse and something very intriguing for Kong for the future. So let's get on to that one first. And that is the fact that King Kong will have a series on Disney Plus. Now, some of you might be thinking, how the hell is that possible? Doesn't Warner Brothers own Kong right now with Godzilla and all that and all his fellow kaiju companions? Well, the thing is that King Kong, the name and character, is technically part of public domain. What that means is that Kong, over the years, hasn't really had a full-on ownership, to say the least. Now, of course, a lot of us are aware of some of the copyright issues that Kong has experienced over the years, whether it be from Toho, buying from RKO, some issue with Paramount, Universal, but that's a different story. And to truth be told, I think Big Jack Films will discuss that. You guys should probably check his channel out. He actually makes up a lot of King Kong content, which I do recommend. But anyways, back to the point. So this new King Kong Disney Plus series, this was unexpected. I mean, I'm still processing my thoughts on what this will be. So I think I should read off what it says. Written by Paper Girls creator Stephanie Folsom, King Kong is a serialized action/adventure drama that brings the classic monster story into the modern age, with a return to Skull Island and the dawn of a new Kong. The series will explore the mythology of King Kong's origin story and the supernatural mysteries of his home, based in IP from Arian C. Cooper's original books and the new King Kong novelization by Joe DeVito. Fallism executives produced alongside Juan, Michael Clear, and Rob Hawkins. Sorry for butchering these names if I did. For Atomic Monster, and Danny Festa and Mark Marlis for World Builder Entertainment. The Marion C. Cooper estate has teamed up with an artist, Joe DeVito, to produce new novelizations that are being used as source materials for the series, along with the original book IP. And this is the source from Deadline. And in case you're wondering where I'm reading this off, thank you to Kaiju's news outlet for sharing these news, since that's what I do on Instagram. But yeah, so basically this series sounds like it's pretty much gonna be like sort of a sequel to like the original King Kong story. Now, what I mean by that is that it's basically gonna be a sequel where it's after Kong did his rampage in New York, and after he falls down the Empire State Building. So, based on that story, I don't think it's particularly based on either the 1933 or 2005. I think it's more or less going along the roots of the 1933, since the Kong from 2005 is owned by Universal, so, and plus there's still that Universal King Kong right. So I'm pretty sure that like I said, King Kong is pretty much public domain at this point. So it's gotta be its own twist on the character, as this says. Now, if this description for the series sounds a little familiar, you're not entirely wrong. I believe that it does kind of sound similar to the Kong, the animated series from the early 2000s, which I did watch a while back, of course, when I was younger, and rewatched it a few times over the years, and it's okay. It's not the greatest series in the world. But anyway, but it sounds like instead, because I do remember from the series that it was pretty much, your average traveling around the world discovering mystery series. This one sounds like it'll be a bit more realistic and, be more focused on Skull Island. So that's a plus. And so if it's gonna take place on Skull Island and will pretty much be like I said, a sequel to the King Kong original story, after the New York rampage, there are some things I'm hoping for in this series. I think the first of which is, Disney had better do Kong right because, Disney, if you guys know me, whether you know me from my old account, maybe you started following me on my new account, or, still getting to know me, then you'll know that I'm not a big Disney fan, really. Like, I do like some of their work, okay? The Outhouse, awesome series. And I do like some of their movies, of course. But, the company itself is just... There's just a lot I have to say about Disney itself that aren't necessarily the greatest, to be honest. But with that said, there is hope that they can do Kong justice, especially how, their series on Disney Plus and some of their exclusive movies there have seemed to gotten some, good reception from my knowledge off the top of my head. Like I said, I'm not a big fan, so I wouldn't know exactly everything that Disney is, doing and whatnot. But yeah. But, from my standpoint, considering that Disney has had their knack on taking twists from famous stories, I do see the hope that this one will be, fairly at least decent. And, who knows that that the effects for this one will be on par on, let's say, some of their remake movies. Though, hopefully the expressions on the monsters will be a lot more expressive than they are in the Lion King remake. Yeah, I'm not letting that one go. Speaking of which, of course Kong will be part of the series, but mainly what I want to see is, some of the creatures they'll do. Like, I'm really hoping for dinosaurs. That's the one thing I'm hoping for. Disney has proven that they can make some pretty damn good dinosaurs. I mean, think about it. We got Disney's dinosaurs. I mean, come on. In fact, why not use some of the designs from the Disney movie into this one? Like, come on, have Kong fight the Carnotaur, for God's sake. Who wouldn't want that? But, you know what I'm saying. I'm just hoping that, we get some, dinosaurs here, and that their designs are pretty unique, to say the least. They're not, trying to rip off, the Jurassic Park designs and whatnot. Hopefully they could be, original twists, similar to what they did in the 2005 film with Universal with, let's say, the Vistanosaurus Rexes. So hopefully, that they'll do some really great creature designs, and of course some likable characters, which is pretty essential to any series, especially ones by Disney. So yeah. So overall, I think, I'm staying optimistic about this one. So yeah, continue on. So that's, something that was definitely unexpected. And now we finally have a description for the quote-unquote sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong. And from the looks of this, it does literally mean a sequel. So, okay, so let me read this off. This latest entry follows the explosive showdown of Godzilla vs. Kong with an all-new cinematic adventure, pitting the almighty Godzilla and the fearsome Godzilla against a colossal undiscovered threat hidden beneath our world, challenging their very existence and our own. The epic new film will dive further into the histories of these titans, their origins and the mysteries of Skull Island and beyond, while uncovering the mythic battle that helped forge these extraordinary beings that tied them to humankind forever. There are a lot of familiar faces set to reprise their roles, and this includes Rebecca Hall, the Night House, as Eileen Andrews, Brandon T. Henry, Bullet Train as Bernie Hayes, and Kelly Hodsall, Godzilla vs. Kong as Gia. So one thing I will give credit is that a lot of returning actors are returning. One of the small nitpicks, I guess you could say, I have with the Monsterverse is that it hasn't been exactly consistent with recurring characters. Like, I know that for King of Monsters, they brought back, Sarazawa and Vivian Graham, but Vivian Graham, of course, immediately gets eaten up by Ghidorah in the first 45 minutes of the movie, and then towards the later half of the film, you got Sarazawa sacrificing himself. I mean, that scene was good and all, but a small part of me wished that we got more with Sarazawa in the Monsterverse. So part of me is pretty glad that some returning actors are returning, and it sounds like they'll be in more prominent roles as they were in the previous films, so that's pretty good. Also, the fact that these are some of the more likable characters from the film, so that's a big plus. Now, the description itself, oh boy. So, not only is it legitimately trying to pin itself as a sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong, but it sounds like with this one, it sounds like the two of them will legitimately team up. And what I mean by that is that, it doesn't sound like, for the marketing that, it'll be the two of them fighting to death like they were in the previous film, but it sounds like they'll actually team up, which may annoy some people. I mean, with me personally, I will be honest, the summary itself, it doesn't exactly sound too original. I mean, if any sense, it kind of sounds like your average, how to say it? Like, it's definitely going towards the path of, let's say, the older Showa films where, over time, Godzilla would team up with older enemies to fight a bigger threat. So it sounds like they're taking a path with the Showa film. And technically, they kind of alluded to that with the inclusion of Mechagodzilla with GVK. So we kind of got a team up battle back then. And so, but the one thing I will say that got me really interested is, more lore with the Monsterverse. I'm always, happy with, more, lore with, with how, the ecosystem within the whole Earth works, the history between Kong and Godzilla and whatnot. But here's something that really intrigues me the most. Against a colossal undiscovered threat hidden beneath our world. What could that mean? So the first thing that popped to people's minds is that, they're gonna return an older Toho kaiju, like let's say they'll bring back Biollante, Destroya, or some other big baddie kaiju that we might know of, Space Godzilla maybe. With me personally, it's sort of 50-50 with me. The reason I say that is that, on the one hand, it would be nice that Legendary would bring back an older Toho kaiju, because through my standpoint, if they use an older kaiju, it would amp up, let's say, the marketing value and maybe ticket sales, since, it'd be a monster that some people will be familiar with. But that's the other thing. Some people are familiar with. The reason why I'm guessing the reason why they use Mechagodzilla for GBK is that, not just to pick, a monster for the big baddie for Godzilla versus Kong, but because Mechagodzilla is literally the last remaining of Toho's Big Five, since, Rodan, Mothra, and Ghidorah were already used for King of the Monsters, so might as well used up all the big fives within by the fourth Monsterverse film, right? So that means that the other kaijus within Toho rosters are either not as important or just as not as popular as Rodan, Mothra, King Ghidorah, and Mechagodzilla. But at the same time, I do think it is important to reintroduce, certain, older characters. Like, I know my best friend, Chris Zilla98, follow him on Instagram, he is a massive Destoroyah fan, I swear. If you were to ask who is the biggest Destoroyah fan within the Godzilla fandom, go talk to him. He'll brag all day and all night on how much he loves Destoroyah. With me personally, so the way I think of it, undiscovered hidden threat. So it could be an older kaiju, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they just make a whole new, brand new kaiju, just for Godzilla Kong to fight them, or just a big monstrous Hulk of a Titan that will beat the shit out of them. Just a whole new creation that is unholy to man. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they also make an original kaiju for the film. So I'm sort of 50-50 to say the least. And as for what I'm hoping for the movie itself, quite honestly, I just want it to be, just a well-executed movie, to say the least. The reason I say that, ever since I watched Jurassic World Dominion, my mindsets for films has sort of changed. Like, yes, I'm still excited for certain films and shows, but I have to keep in mind that, I have to lower my expectations when it comes to these kinds of films and shows, since yes, they'll may do some good things, but they may also take the wrong path. Of course, many of you guys know that I'm not exactly the biggest fan of Dominion, so needless to say, I've, accepted that, certain, expectations will have to be lowered. I mean, I'm still excited for this movie. I mean, it is coming on March 15th, so that's actually a day before my birthday, so early birthday gift. Yay! But yeah, so yeah, I'm just hoping that the movie is well put together, well edited, great characters. Of course, we got some returning characters from the last movie, and also, please remaster some more Ifukube songs, please. Is that so hard to ask? I mean, you guys did a phenomenal job with the Kingdom Monsters soundtrack, and quite honestly, your soundtrack for GBK was subpar. So can you please remaster more Ifukube soundtracks, please? For the love of Godzilla, I just can't get my mind over some of the awesome tracks from King of Monsters. It literally has one of the best soundtracks in the Godzilla fandom. Please. But yeah, so yeah, that's just, my, expectations and summary for, for the new Monsterverse film. And the last bit of news I want to discuss is the Monsterverse Apple TV Plus series that is coming. So by the time I'm recording this, there's already a teaser image for the series, and I got it up right now, and right now it's looking rather interesting. All I'm seeing is, some sort of map that has picture of islands and all sorts of old photographs of wrecked ships I'm taking. Um, it's hard to describe it, but you know, if you guys search up a kaiju news outlet, then you'll see the post with the teaser image. But so obviously that's still happening, and it sounds like it's well in production actually, from the sounds of it. So, and I have spoken my, some of my 2 cents of, the Apple TV Plus series on what I'm expecting of it. I have some pretty decent expectation to say the least. And I just said that, with movie expectation, I have to keep them lower, but I think with shows, there is a little bit more potential. Like, there's especially the fact that, Godzilla has definitely risen some popularity on the smaller screen ever since Godzilla Singular Point, which, even though that series is, very, has a specific audience, you really need to be a thinker for that series. I still rather enjoy it, and it does show that Godzilla does has potential for a TV series. So with this new live action series, I'm hoping for that way, but some people are actually predicting that it may not fully revolve around Godzilla all that much. It may actually more or less focus on the human characters actually, which may seem like a bad thing, but considering that some people have actually grown to actually appreciate human characters in kaiju films, I mean, I certainly have. Um, it does make sense, and it may make up for some people's dislike for some of the characters in the Monsterverse film. I don't necessarily hate any character in the Monsterverse. I just, the worst I can think of when it comes to Monsterverse character is weak or wasted, like Ren Sarazawa. I mean, come on, you're the father of Sarazawa. You could have done more with that. But anyways, so my expectations are pretty fair for this one. Still, I'm still wondering why it's still on Apple TV Plus. Well, actually, there is sort of an explanation as HBO Max is, seems to be cutting off a partnership with Warner Bros. So it seems like they may no longer be showing, the Monsterverse and all other Warner Bros. Movies on there. So I guess it makes sense. But yeah, so yeah, this was just me rambling on some of the news that has been happening. It's actually pretty an awesome time, honestly. I mean, even though because we've been predicting like over a year ago that will the Monsterverse continue? Was Godzilla vs Kong really the end of it? But nope, it seems like the Monsterverse has a strong future, and and sounds like kaiju popularity is rising. So yeah, so let's hope for more. Let's hope that Disney doesn't screw up the Kong brand or Kong name, I should say, and that I hope that both Godzilla and Kong has bright futures, and hopefully that other kaiju have bright futures. I know that Shin Ultraman has been getting a lot of talk recently, but it seems like there's only been one kaiju that has been left out of the dark. A certain kaiju, a turtle kaiju, Daiei Kawakata. Please, we want more Gamera. Gamera is what we want these days. Seriously, it's been long overdue for a new Gamera film. But you get what I mean. So yeah, I hope you guys, enjoyed this video. And, leave your thoughts on, these recent news lately. And yeah, and I'll see you guys next time.